Hi everyone, it's Ray with Tarot Living. So this is going to be your weekly reading for May 24th to the 30th. And so I'm just going to go ahead and start shuffling the deck. So this is, I must show you what I'm using this week. I'm going to change it up a bit, and I'm going to use the Victorian Tarot. And this is the box. It is from Baba Studios. The second edition is out of print. I got mine on eBay sort of secondhand, but not used, so it was actually a wonderful situation. So I was very happy about that. These cards are, and I've done a full review on this deck, by the way, that I will be posting shortly. I just haven't edited it yet, but I will edit it and then get that posted. It's one of the most beautiful decks I've ever seen. It truly is a very stunning deck. I often will use it for myself for daily draws for readings. So very, very exciting deck. I quite like it. So I'm going to go ahead and just pick some cards so you all know I kind of have to, you know, just intuitively pick them. So I'll do that. Okay. So, oh, I love these cards. Beautiful cards. So the first card that I picked was the Empress, and the second card that I picked was the Ace of Wands. Really neat cards this week. So I'm just going to show you again because obviously I don't have the camera on the actual cards. So that's the Empress card. So they actually have children in this card. Sometimes she's pregnant, sometimes neither, but you know, in this case, there's actually some children. And then the Ace of Wands, in this deck, there's actually always a person that's holding the kind of soul wand or the soul sword or whatever it may be. So, so this is a really, really neat, these are neat cards to pull. So a few things come to mind, but let's talk about first what the Empress is the one that I pulled first. So I'm going to talk about the Empress first. The Empress card is the 3 in the major arcana, and the 3s can typically mean some kind of creativity, some kind of formation of something in a kind of a physical realm, first stage of development or first level of fruition, they kind of call it. It can be a card that is very driven by that creative, you know, almost procreative, you know, energy. And I think one of the things about the Empress is that you have to, whenever I pull that card, and I'm sure you've probably experienced the same, you kind of instantly wonder, wow, you know, what am I in the middle of creating right now? Or where do I need to put my creative energy and my creative juices into right now in order to bring something into reality? And so it just tells us that that energy is very much available and out there for us to use. There's usually some type of water in the card as well, so it's a very feminine sort of principle. She rules Taurus, and Taurus is very creative, but it's also very grounded. It is an earth sign, which means that it's not going to be just creative imagination up here. It's that you are actually able to, you know, manifest something. Although it may be in, you know, early stages, like 3 is usually kind of the first stage of development, but you know, you're able to work on that, bringing something into fruition sort of energy this week. So that's really great. The other thing about the Empress, whenever it comes up, I always think what needs to be nurtured, what needs to be mothered. So you have to consider what in your life needs attention or nurturing, and is it you who needs attention or nurturing at this time? So you also need to consider that. With the Ace of Wands with it, it could be a couple of things. So the first thing is that the Ace of Wands with that suggests to me that, okay, are you actually wanting to launch something, you know, that is creative this week? And that would be an excellent time to do so if you want to launch something. If you're already in the process of doing so, Ace of Wands is saying you're going to have further inspiration and you're going to be able to really put a spark and a light under that and, you know, bring it into manifestation even more so. It's interesting because I think a lot of people would interpret these, if you got these 2 cards and let's say someone would, you know, had come to you for a reading, you could even say like it would be the birth of a child, or, you know, kind of a pregnancy or something like that. But it's definitely suggesting some kind of positivity surrounding, you know, a creation of something. Ace of Wands sitting there also says, do you need to start doing something differently in the area of where you're directing your creative energy, or where you're directing your nurturing or mothering energy? I would be looking at, do I need to change something up and do something differently and sort of start fresh in any way? So it's really interesting. I was doing a little tarot talk last night, and afterwards we all went for a coffee and had a discussion, and we were doing this game. And I was talking about work, and that, you know, it was just a lot of work on my plate right now. And so I was pulling cards like this, sort of like you need to kind of nurture yourself just as much. And so for me, I'm just going to give you an example. For me, it would mean I have to have spark of ideas of how I can do that. So Ace of Wands says you need to start doing something. So how are you going to start doing that? So it's almost consideration of, do you need to maybe start a new path in this area? The other thing is, if you've got a creative project going and maybe it's been set to the side, is it going to be time to now pull it out and actually have that spark of inspiration to restart again? So there's going to be something that's going to be, you know, in the beginning phase. You know, if you are wanting to create something, it's a great time for inspiration to come to you. You know, like I said, it would be actually great cards to get if you're waiting for the birth, or you're waiting for some kind of a, you know, if there's an announcement of something. Yeah, so those are the things that come to mind. It's, if you add the inspiration of fire to the creative and the ability to manifest things with the Empress, you know, you're really able to bring those creative juices into some type of manifestation this week. So that's what those two cards mean to me. I think they're beautiful cards to have for the week. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and have a wonderful week creating and having inspiration. And I'll chat with you next week. Take care.